Welcome to episode 4 of the Mile 20 podcast, where epic shit happens. I'm Lorri, and I'm with my best friend Laura, and we are going to take you on a journey today. We will be discussing Patricia, that bitch, beer bitches, and the birds. We're going to go through our beverage of the week in just a moment. We're going to talk about our epic week update, which is fucking epic. Fucking epic. Wait.
I just sound like I just was like taking a crap.
Wait, should we just interject right here?
E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles.
Okay. There it is.
We will be doing that quite a bit today.
Yeah. And then really because of this was just could not have worked out better timing wise.
We're recording this on a Monday after the Super Bowl.
After the Super Bowl, and
the Super Bowl.
We had already planned to discuss our Philly marathons. So really today is going to be just all steeped in Philly. It's just going to be Philly marathons. Yeah, and there's multiple. And then we'll talk about next week. I think we're going to dip into Rehoboth. And if you happen to be checking us out, please join us on YouTube if you're ever curious as to what is actually going on with our hands.
Because we're actually, for those listening, we actually have video. So you can actually see us in person. And we have pictures that we have planned, like professional photos, the end of March.
Yes.
So we're excited about that.
About that. You can join us on Instagram.
I can lose those
Mile
15
20.
pounds I just gained.
Oh, my God. The holidays have been cruel. So we're on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all Mile 20 podcasts.
Spotify.
Is where you can find us on Spotify, Apple. So we're going to get started.
All right. Wait. Little disclaimer.
Yeah. You got to do your disclaimer this week.
So last week, for those of you who listened in episode 3, Lorri was a little under the weather. And she apologized that she was going to sound really crappy. And I said, wow, I feel really crappy that I'm sitting really this close to you. Guess who got Lori's cold?
Yeah.
I wasn't licking the doorknobs or anything. It just, happened to be sitting in close proximity. But,
spending all weekend
together. Yes, and all weekend to the girls' trip and so forth. So I have been blessed. So part of my voice right now, and I so apologize because it's going to sound so, I sound like I've smoked like a pack of cigarettes.
Your party girl voice.
But I represented the Eagles fan base yesterday at the Super Bowl, and I just screamed the entire game. It was like, like when we're at a game and it's third down and it's the other team has the ball and you just want to get in the quarterback's ear and you just scream the whole game, Lorri.
Well, as you should.
The whole game.
If you didn't, I'd be pissed because you had to scream for me too.
Yes, I did. I double screamed.
Thank you.
So I apologize for my voice today. Okay, so let's get into the drink of the week.
All right. So Maggie, my oldest daughter, and Connor, her boyfriend, got us a lovely gift in 2023. This was a Christmas gift, which I thought was so thoughtful. And her boyfriend, God bless him, is a Giants fan. I love Connor.
We love Connor. Connor's solid.
Dude.
He's a good dude.
So the fact that he contributed to this gift, they got us a bottle of wine that says Philadelphia Eagles, established 1933. It's a limited edition. It was a California Cabernet.
And it's like etched too. Oh, that's kind of sweet.
It's a really nice bottle.
It's got the Philadelphia Eagles on the front with the eagle. Caw-caw.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Connor's like, y'all got to drink it. They won the Super Bowl. That was the thing. He's like, if you ever win the Super Bowl, you're going to crack the bottle. So we have cracked the bottle.
We've cracked the bottle today.
But the back of this bottle just kind of, if you don't, not from the Philadelphia area, it really has a very good description of just quintessential Philly. So I was going to have Laura read it.
Because I haven't read it yet.
She has not read the bottle. So I'm going to let her read it,
All right.
the back of it. It's a little long, so just bear with us.
Okay. And I'm hoping that this doesn't describe like the absolute hoodlums that were on Broad Street yesterday, like creating havoc. Because those, I'm telling you, those, I keep seeing, I'm sorry, I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant here.
Oh, see, I didn't see what happened.
Hold on.
I just
I'm going to
knew
go
that
on
they
a
were out
rant.
there. Okay.
That there were so many people on social media saying, oh, I hate Eagles fans. Look at these people and so forth. the absolute jackasses. And it, like, if you're listening, just stop listening to our podcast, because like we just don't want your type listening to us. These absolute jackasses who go out and they say that they're fans and they're celebrating by absolutely destroying parts of our city.
Oh no!
They took down traffic lights. I mean, traffic lights, Lori, or like around City Hall.
That's dangerous and very heavy.
They took over like a garbage truck.
I saw
there was a police officer that was assaulted. I mean,
really?
Just some really, really stupid stuff. So shame on you, because those of us who are really good, just solid Eagles fans are really ashamed of you.
And there's so many. I mean, there were thousands of people that are down there that are just generally down there just to experience the celebration,
just to have fun with each other. And it's
sad that it has to escalate to
it's
that.
Those idiots that just ruin our reputation. So that's that. So I'm going to read the back of this this bottle, and hopefully my glasses are good enough today. All right. So it says classic, nostalgic, iconic. Kelly Green is a throwback to an era of Philadelphia Eagles football that resonates with a generation of fans. Harkening back to the days of a gritty, hard-nosed football team that authentically embodied the city's blue-collar attitude. Kelly Green evokes the pride. I'm getting goosebumps. Kelly Green evokes the pride, passion, and spirit of Eagles fans everywhere. It is an important part of the franchise's history, one that dates back 90 years in the National Football League. The 2023 season marks a special moment in time for the Eagles as they celebrate and honor their past with the anticipated return of the Kelly Green uniform. And this says it was bottled by Manos Wine in fucking Kansas City, Missouri, baby. Yeah, go Birds.
Go Birds. That was the punchline. We were reading that last night, and they're like, oh my God, this thing was bottled in Kansas City.
So here is to Manos Wine, Go Birds.
Go Birds.
I love that.
It's good.
Yeah.
I'm just going to hide this, though, just down here.
Yeah, because we'll probably end up knocking it over and what have you. Oh, that was good. I like that one.
Yeah, it's good.
All right. So our epic week. How was your weekend?
Yeah, because mine's the short version. Some of us don't actually get to go to the Super Bowl and experience what that feels like. Not once or twice or 3 times. But, it's okay. I'm so happy. I'm your biggest champion. I'm so glad you got to go.
I know.
But we had a great time last night. It was a relatively chill weekend because it was really just pretty much nail biting from the end of the weekend, knowing that Sunday was the Super Bowl.
Just waiting for the game.
Literally,
it
was like I was frozen in time until the game started.
Yes.
Or really probably about an hour before the game started. We started the pregame stuff. So the Philadelphia Eagles fan base, I know that every fan base has its quirks, but man, we are a superstitious lot. Super
superstitious.
So I wanted to make sure that they'd been winning. We were season ticket holders. We've been going to the home games, and I wanted to really make sure I had that home game feel. So when we tailgate, we always do the opposing team's food. We drink. We usually have, especially this late in the winter, we usually have a couple fireball shots before the game.
Before going to the stadium,
and all of that.
Yep.
So I wore my shirt. I have a shirt that I have worn for every game that they.
She does wash it,
and I do wash it. But they have one. I have it on right now, as a matter of fact, just because. Not this one. Wait. If you're on, it's a gray T-shirt.
She's showing her boobies.
If you're joining us on YouTube, not really showing my boobs.
No.
But so we were dressed. We did a couple shots of Fireball. We had Kansas City barbecue. So we were at our home, we were representing. We were doing everything on our end to keep our superstitious everything locked and loaded.
That's why we won.
That's why we won. Well, that and Snoqualm Barkley. Please, Maggie, tag a link to Snoqualm Barkley.
So for those of you who have not heard of Snoqualm, so on our Philadelphia Eagles fan, one of the Facebook pages, this family that in the beginning of the playoffs, they created a snowman, and every time we won, and they nicknamed the snowman Snoquan Barkley, right?
Yeah.
And so they were very concerned because after we won the NFC Championship, there was a 2-week lull before we go to the Super Bowl.
And it warmed up.
Yeah. Pretty significantly. So this family had pictures of them taking the Snoquan and putting it into a freezer. And it was preserved. And apparently they were going out into parking lots and kind of like swiping some of like maybe some dirty snow from the parking lot, snow piles to go and add to Snoquan. And so all I have to say is thank you to the family that preserved Snoquan, because again, that was another reason why we won.
Yeah, I mean, if Snoquan had gone down, I don't know what would have happened.
I don't know.
Yesterday.
We'd have totally blamed it on that family.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
So yesterday was cool. We watched the game. I cried, I think, the entire second half because I just could not believe what I was seeing. Just the sheer dominance. And when the touchdown to Devontae, I was flat on my face on the floor in disbelief, sobbing. So it was an emotional day, but amazing because I'm 51 years old and I've seen 2 Super Bowls and I feel blessed. But my shit's so not epic compared to actually going to the Super Bowl. So before you get started, here's some points I want you to touch on. Mm-hmm. I want you to tell me about where you stayed, some of the good food, where you ate, if you recommend any place to eat, all the pre-party experiences, and the actual Super Bowl, and maybe the halftime show, or whatever inspires you.
Yeah. So my husband Jim and I, we flew down Thursday afternoon. Mm-hmm. And just as a little caveat, when we immerse ourselves into sports, as you know, like we just dive deep and hard into sports. So in the beginning of the season, when we started winning, I said to my husband, and I'm trying not to make this sound pretentious, but I was like, hey, we've been to 2 Super Bowls. So we were in the one in Minnesota against the Patriots, which was awesome to experience because we won. And then we spent a lot of money on the Phoenix one, where we lost to Kansas City. And that just was demoralizing, just leaving the stadium and, just not having your team, win. And especially under the circumstances, right, of that one.
Yeah, that was tough.
It was really tough. So I thought I was putting kind of my foot down. And every week that we kept winning, my foot kept coming a little bit up further off of that rug. And then finally, right before New Year's, and we hadn't even won the NFC Championship, right? We the playoffs hadn't even started yet, right? Because we still had a regular season game in January.
Yeah.
We went and booked our flights and our VRBO, and we were like, we're going to hedge. We're going to totally hedge on this thing. And we did a VRBO in the Garden District in New Orleans. So it's a little on the outside. It's still in the city, but it's on the outside. So maybe it was a mile to go and walk to Bourbon Street. They had a ton of Ubers and Lyfts and taxis and so forth.
Did you guys do the trolley at all?
No, we didn't do the trolley. We didn't do the trolley. I don't know. We just didn't do the trolley. But we got there on Thursday. We went and had the most incredible meal at Gris Gris. And Gris Gris is on Magazine in the Garden District. Shout out to those people. Our waitress, her name was Lindsay with an EY. And she was absolutely incredible. Lorri, I like shrimp and grits.
Yeah.
I had the best shrimp and grits of my entire life there.
Is it better than yours? Because you made some damn good shrimp and
grits.
It
was better than my shrimp and grits.
Really?
It was better. I probably could have ponied up to the kitchen and just told the chef, just give me the pot.
Did you want to put your face in?
I wanted to lick the plate. I did not. And then they had. I mean, they were so gluten friendly. So again, I have celiac, and they were absolutely so accommodating to my entire allergy and so forth. So Gris Gris, that was probably our best meal that we had.
I don't think I've eaten there before.
Yeah, no, that was absolutely fabulous. Friday, we ate at Birdie's for breakfast in the morning. Again, that was in the Garden District, and that was fabulous. My husband did a thing of bottomless mimosas, and then we proceeded to come back to the VRBO and just nap, which was fun. Saturday, well, Friday. Let's see, what else did we do on Friday? Oh, we went to the Marriott Bonvoy house party, and that was neat because that was at the House of Blues, and we got a little dressed up for that. And Fitz and the Tantrums played at that venue.
And how were they?
They were awesome. And
were they?
So I didn't realize. So Fitz, the lead singer, he is actually my age. Like he's like in his early 50s, and he did not look it. And man, that guy was like bouncing all over the stage and what have you.
Wait a minute, when did they become popular? So was he like 40?
Like in the early 2000s. Like
they were popular.
I can make your hands clap.
Is that the early 2000s?
Yeah.
Oh shit, that's when time starts slipping.
Yeah. So they were absolutely fantastic. Really, really nice venue. It was very age appropriate for my husband and I. Really, really good crowd. It just had a great time. Saturday, we went out to breakfast. So our friend Mary Beth, whose daughter goes, her daughter Mary Kate. So we'll give Mary Kate a little shout out here because Mary Kate and I were texting with each other yesterday. She goes to LSU in Baton Rouge. So our friend Mary Beth goes down to New Orleans quite a bit. So she said, you have to eat at Red Slippers. You have to eat at Red Slippers. They're awesome. They're awesome.
Red or Ruby?
Oh, shoot. Ruby Slippers.
Okay.
Damn it. Ruby, see, I can't even get it right. Ruby Slippers. And so we went to Ruby Slippers on Magazine, and it was absolutely incredible. I had a mimosa flight. I had probably the best shrimp omelet, grits. I just love Southern food so much.
I know, it's so good.
It's so good. So then I probably took like a 4.5 hour nap on Saturday just because of what I got going on head cold wise. And then we ventured out into the French Quarter. We did not hit Bourbon Street.
No.
Jim and I stayed the hell away from Bourbon Street. We
missed Lady Gaga because wasn't she filming on Saturday?
I guess she was. We were not a part of that.
Yeah.
So again, we kept seeing some of the pictures and the debauchery that were happening on Bourbon Street.
Was it kind of like Broad Street last night?
Yeah, but maybe not taking down the telephone poles. So we just decided, like, let's do the fringe of the French Quarter. So we hit a little club that they absolutely played just some phenomenal music, lots of horns, and they had a banjo going and what have you. And then we went to the Westin, and we got an aerial view of like the Mississippi because they have like like on the 11th floor of the Westin, they have a beautiful bar up there and what have you. And there was a woman that was singing, and she had a person on the piano accompanying her. And man, the vibe was just so good. It was just so good. And I tell you what, it was almost all Eagles fans in that lobby lounge.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it felt like we were kind of home.
Yeah.
And so then we went to another party on Saturday night. I'm not even going to give a shout out for that party because it was really effing lame. And then yesterday we hit the game. We did the players tailgate, which is a tailgate that they do almost every year, before the Super Bowl. So we paid into that. That was nice. It's like a bunch of famous chefs, and they make a bunch of food and what have you.
It says players tailgate. Were there any players there?
Yes, there were a lot of players there. In fact, all of the players that were there all predicted that the Chiefs were going to win.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Yeah. And another player, since you have one of your daughters is a grad and one now is up and coming Penn Stater, Tyler Warren was there. He is a junior right now, and they were interviewing him on stage at this tailgate. And he has declared that he is going to be eligible for the draft this coming year.
Oh yeah, he'll go early.
Yeah, he was so well spoken and just seems like a really nice guy. So it'll be exciting to go and see his career kind of skyrocket, and just kind of see him doing his interview and some things that he was excited about.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So and then the game. I mean, I could talk probably 2-3 hours about the game. It was just super exciting.
It sounded from the TV. It sounded like almost like a home game. I hate to say that, except for at the end where I thought that the Chiefs players were chanting their chant. I could hear him chanting towards the end. I'm like, oh look, they're rallying their team.
Nope. It was Eagles fans. I took a video of it and I sent it. We were sending pictures and stuff, like the whole game.
She FaceTimed me right after the win.
I did. We were both crying.
I'm like,
I was like, yo, man, you got to see them. They're all setting up on the stage to get the Lombardi trophy and stuff. And it was just absolutely awesome. And we sat around a bunch of Eagles fans up in the 600 section. And at some point in time, it was when Devontae Smith went and caught the basket catch, and next thing you know, there's freaking liquid and drinks and everything flying all over the air. And I did tell Lori before we started the podcast, I'm like, I haven't taken a shower since yesterday, and I went to go brush my hair before, and I think I still have some drink in my hair.
That's so unlike you.
I'm just like, I just don't want to watch the Super Bowl off of me. It's
it's so special.
I just want to keep it on me right now. I don't know.
It's really, really kind of gross, but oddly, I understand, I think.
I just don't want to let it go. So we just had a blast. I do also need to give a shout out to Ben Harris. Ben was one of our seatmates. He sat to the right of me, and we met him during the game. We ended up we were all hugging at the end of the game. He turns to Jim and he's like, "Can I hug you guys?"
Aww.
But the cool thing, talking about a small world, is that we were all just talking about what we do occupationally. And when we had mentioned that, Jim works for Wawa, Ben's best friend works for Wawa.
Does Jim know him?
And yes, in fact, Jim and Ben took a picture with each other, and then Jim's got this guy's number on his phone, so he sends it to this guy. I think he's in finance or does billing or something like that. And
that's crazy.
And so next thing you know, there's banter going back and forth. So really, really small world. So Ben, you are a solid Eagles fan. He ended up leaving after the game, didn't see the Lombardi trophy because he was hopping on a 2 a.m. flight to go back home. So shout out to you, my friend. And then the last shout out I want to give to was really about my trip down to Louisiana, down to New Orleans.
That flight had to be wild.
It was really wild. So Jim got an aisle seat and I got an aisle seat. And then this guy comes in, he sits next to me, a really nice guy. He complimented me on my shoes. I complimented him on his shoes and what have you. He was totally styled from head to toe. Then this big tall guy comes in and he's 6'3", 6'4". He comes in with this really lively crew and so forth, and they're singing and stuff. And he was like, yeah, we hit the tequila, before get on the flight.
Nice.
So the three of us, this tall guy, this other guy, and I are sitting, and we just got to talking, and I find out that I'm sitting next to DJ Taroc. So it's T-O-R-O-C. And
that's cool.
Right? So this guy, I find out, is with Gilly. Is it Gilly? Gilly?
Blow the whistle.
Blow the whistle.
Woo-hoo.
So every year, at least for the Eagles, they find this song. Each team finds a song that kind of gives them inspiration, for the season. And this one was Blow the Whistle by a local rapper called Gilly. Mm-hmm. And so Gilly was on our flight. Gilly was in first class, and DJ Taroc was with him, but DJ Taroc sat a little further back with myself and this other gentleman. And so I find out that DJ Taroc is the Eagles DJ.
Oh, that's
so he
cool.
doesn't do the stadium, during the games.
He was the one playing all the lit music in the locker room last night.
Yeah. So coming full circle, the coolest freaking thing that I experienced today was when Jim and I were waiting on our flight. I'm just going through my work email, and then I'm going through social media stuff. And the one scene where they have Jalen Hurts and he's sitting on the ground just somewhere in the locker room with the Lombardi trophy between his legs, and he's just looking at it and he's smoking a cigar, right?
Yeah. And
he's just kind of jamming out. That was DJ Taroc going and playing his music. And I had a conversation with him. I asked him, I'm like, well, what did you prep for? What are you playing? And he's like, I no pressure, but he's like, I had to prep for the celebration party or the after party, and hoping that it's the celebration party, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, how long does it take you to prep for that? And he's like, this one took a long time to go and put together. So I can't even imagine. So it was almost from the beginning of my trip to the end of my trip, I had that full circle experience where I'm like, I know who was playing the music.
Yeah, that's really
that Jalen was jamming to.
That's really cool.
So again, I could talk hours and hours and hours about this stuff and what have you. I am absolutely blessed that I have a husband that is as equally crazy and, obsessed and so forth about, getting in the experience. And I feel very, very fortunate that, that we went and...
You guys work really hard.
Yeah.
You work hard in life.
Yeah, yeah. And we're not taking the money to the grave. Sorry, Maddie.
Yeah. That's fair.
So,
That's fair.
Yeah. Gotta live life. You just live it once.
I think the only time I'll probably ever go to a Super Bowl is if I'm ever freakily blessed to have the Denver Broncos and Eagles play each other.
Yeah, yeah.
But that would have to be a God thing.
It would.
But anyway... Just one more brief thing about the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Being through both seasons now with the Super Bowl wins and the runs, it is really amazing. Each of those, I'm leaving out, what was that, 2023? Was it 2023 we lost?
Yeah.
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 I'm leaving that one out because it was missing it. 2017 season or the 2018 Super Bowl and then this year. Both those seasons had a feel.
Yeah, I agree.
Had a feel.
I totally agree.
I know there are ups and downs in every season, but there was a feel that was undeniable where I was like, oh. And because I remembered it from 2017-18 season, I was like...
You felt it again.
I felt it
again.
Yeah,
I felt it again,
season.
too. That's why I was like, I pulled so far back on that, like, we're not going to go to the Super Bowl. I'm like, dude, when are you booking? When are you booking?
Yeah. Because I didn't get that the last one, though.
Yeah, no.
Really.
No,
which is weird.
I didn't either, but I mean...
But you hope. You never know.
Yeah. Well, and we lost because of the refs, so... But, yeah.
Anyway, is it time for us to start talking about the Philly Marathon?
It is. So Philly Marathon it's our hometown marathon.
It's our hometown marathon.
And how many times have you run it?
I've ran it 5 times.
And you started...
Only twice without you.
Yeah.
No, yes, twice without you.
Yeah, because...
Yeah.
That is so what was the first one, the first year you ran it?
I was 2012 was my first year.
Okay.
And it was my fourth or fifth marathon.
Yeah, because you weren't living up here yet at the time, right?
No, I came up. It's kind of nicely, the way it nestles in the season is good and bad. Mid to late November.
Yeah, it's always
cold.
the weekend. It's the weekend before Thanksgiving. Every year.
Every year.
It's a Sunday.
Which was great because we came up. We were able to come up. I pulled the kids out of 2 days of school and we stayed with my dad because he's local. And we were able to stay through Thanksgiving and then went home. So it was nice because I didn't get to come up here very often for holidays. So it was a good excuse to come up. But it was great in that you can kind of plan an extended time in the area because it is so close to the holiday. But then it's also bad because inevitably Philly is always cold and it is windy.
Yeah, and sometimes rainy.
Could be frozen stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it can go either way. Or it could be warm. Not likely. It's likely going to be cold and windy.
I don't think I ever experienced a warm Philly marathon, ever.
No.
Never.
No.
No,
not one. Not one of them. Not one of the 5.
The first one I did was in 2008. So I've done 6 of them. And so my first one was in 2008 with our friend Julie. And I remember getting a picture of my temperature gauge because, again, this is, we didn't really have like the phone technology that we have today with like the weather apps and all that jazz.
Right. But
I got a picture of our gauge and it said 4 degrees outside.
Oh my God.
And just knowing that, because we live like an hour outside of Philadelphia. So for many of them, several of them we've driven in and some of them we stay downtown, and we'll talk about where we stay here in a little bit.
Although your first few, as well as, no, I was trying to think, they were pre the Boston bombings.
Yes.
Security changed drastically. Between that, what year was that? 20.
Maggie, do a help out here.
Yeah.
Maggie's going to check for us. Maggie's sitting across the table from us. So if we're ever like kind of, for those of you who are watching us on video and we're like creepily looking at somebody.
In the corner, it's Maggie.
It's Maggie. 2013.
2013. Because everything changed after the Boston bombings with security prior to.
Yes.
So before that, you could kind of just roll up.
It was just an open start, and you just rolled right into the corrals,
you rolled up and
right?
ran.
Yeah.
But then after that, they have way tighter security. So we're driving in from the burbs.
Yep.
You have to get parking. You have to walk up. You have to go through security. So inevitably, you wind up
killing like a bunch of hours, like just doing that.
And you're out in the elements.
Yes, way out in the elements.
And waiting.
And when you're cold, your feet, I feel like my feet are like the worst thing, right? Because you can keep everything else kind of warm, but your feet and the sneakers and just with a pair of socks, like
it's not like you're running in Uggs.
Yeah, no. And I just remember that race with Julie, that was her first marathon too, which was kind of cool. Like that, it was Philly, and she was running that. Her whole family was there. Greg and her daughter awesome. Maggie and Caroline were there, and I just remember running like the first 2 or 3 miles going, holy shit, I can't feel my feet. Like my toes just hurt so bad. What, and I'm just going to stay on this topic really quick. What are some tactics that we have used to go and stay warm in corrals? Because we have stood in corrals for a long period of time.
I find that my go-to. My go-to is 100% go and buy either a used or a very cheap from Walmart,
Amazon
onesies.
Yeah,
with a hood.
But the thick, like heavy felty, fleecy. The fleece.
Yeah, the fleece onesies.
Did I just make up that word, fleecy?
Maybe.
Fleecy.
But I'm going.
Fleecy. Okay.
By the way, if you're joining us on YouTube, I'm A, having a hot flash, and B, the wine is hitting right now. I have a little bit of rosacea, so in some of these episodes, you might notice that I get redder. Yeah. As the episode progresses, I feel like I'm on fire and bright red right now.
You just look like you are bright red. You look like a spicy meatball. So we call it Lord. Yeah, the other things that we have seen people do is we've seen them with like the Mylar blankets. So you get like a Mylar blanket in a lot of races. I don't think that
does shit.
They wear Mylar blankets. Some people wear garbage bags. We've seen people wearing scrubs, bathrobes.
Yeah, nothing keeps you as warm as a onesie, and I'm going to stand by that.
We agree.
Do I look ridiculous?
Yeah, but how many people have taken fucking pictures of us when we've gone to the start?
Almost every race.
Every race, because
we're like sparkly unicorns.
We've been bears. We've been pigs.
Cow. Ooh, my favorite was the cow.
Oh, the cow with the udders.
Yeah. I was jacking myself off.
Yeah. Oh my God. That was really funny. Yeah, because we were pigs in Cincinnati. We were unicorns with Maggie.
And
we were eagles with Maggie and Maddie in Philly.
Yeah.
We were eagles for the Eagles. But yeah, so I did my first one with Julie, but in 2008. That was when, on the Sunday of the race, they had the marathon, the half marathon, and the Rothman 8K all in the same day.
Yeah, that was tough. I couldn't stand it. That was so hard.
It's a lot of people starting at one time.
And, like, you get to the halfway point because they've changed the course.
Yes.
Originally, the course was you went through town, down to the waterfront. I'm doing this quick. We'll go into more detail. University City, Fairmount Park, back by Eakins Oval. Yeah. So you would see the finish line at the halfway park.
Pass it.
And almost 80% of the field turns right to go back to finish.
And then we go, lonely, I'm so lonely.
On that out and back to Manayunk.
Well, yeah, and then there was some like out and back on like Martin Luther King Drive too, because now they have you running more through like Fairmont Park and stuff too.
Yeah, well, they used to take you across the Falls River Bridge.
That's right.
Just that little stint and then back across.
And then back across. So I like the course now a lot better, and I like it that they have separated out the half and the 8K, but the one thing that I don't like is that the crowds have thinned out.
Yeah.
You know, when you had all of those races all going at the same time, the half marathon and the marathon overlapped on the front end of the course. So the crowd was absolutely incredible in the beginning of the course.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just thinner now, you know, the crowds. You know, but that's the one thing that I do miss about the change in that.
I agree with that, but I feel like the course correction, being a runner out on the course, I think you kind of get used to the fact, because there was quiet moments anyway. There weren't a lot of people once you got down to the waterfront or like when you were in Fairmont Park to begin with. Like there were quiet moments.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, and now that we've run so many races we have races where we're like, wow, we've seen cows. We haven't seen any people.
That's true. In cornfields.
And
Yes.
what have you. So,
but we digress.
yes, totally digress. So the first time, and I think we mentioned it in our first episode, the first, race that we did in Philadelphia together was in 2015. And that was fun because that was where we introduced the mile 20 drinks.
The mile 20 drinks.
Right. So that one was pretty epic. And I think we talked about the fact that it was really windy, cold that day. Surprise, surprise. And we did a lot of spitting. So it was kind of cool because like the wind was like, we had a tailwind.
A tailwind coming back from Manayunk.
Yeah.
So we were on the last few miles.
And then you spit and you could see like how far that went.
I mean, we were talking like we had loogies going like
30 feet.
It was far. It was far. It was really far. People were either laughing at us or disgusted by us. It went both ways.
What did I go on a rant earlier about like non-classy like Eagles
know.
people? Like what was I talking about?
Yeah, but you're not out there you would never destroy property or hurt anybody.
Right. Thank you for talking me back off of that.
We never said we were a classy bunch as a whole.
No, not as a whole.
We're just not hooligans.
Yes.
Or criminals.
Yeah. No, this is true.
Like, I probably wouldn't throw a snowball at Santa.
I wouldn't do that.
Unless he was like wearing like Kansas City shit on his suit.
I love Taylor Swift, but I booed her yesterday.
That's fair, but I have to say, I have mad respect for Taylor Swift. We're
Me
going
too.
out.
Me too.
She was not wearing Travis Kelce gear.
Tons of respect.
She was not wearing red. She wore white because she's an Eagles fan.
Yeah, but a true Eagles fan would not wear Kansas City gear. I'm sorry. They just wouldn't.
But she's AFC, NFC. You know what I mean? Like, I'd wear Broncos for my husband if they're not playing each other. It doesn't affect. I would.
I wouldn't do it.
I would do it.
I wouldn't do it.
But I love my husband.
That's okay.
She loves him.
I love my husband, but fuck him if he was like not an Eagles fan.
Well, some of us don't have that, okay? Some of us have to take the fact that our husband's like a different NFL team.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, digressing.
Yeah, digressing. So I mean, you want to talk about the course a little bit, and then we'll kind of dive back into a couple of our other races and memorable moments.
So going back to when we were talking about DC, like DC really Marine Corps did that nice job with really showcasing the city. You're going to run, you're going to see DC, you're going to see the monuments, you're going to see the mall. I find with Philly, it's a very similar feel. When you start at Philly, you have the most beautiful backdrop. You have got the art museum. You're on Eakins Oval.
And hold on. So for those of you who have never been to Philadelphia, if you've seen the movie Rocky, the art museum, it has the steps, that iconic moment where Rocky runs up the steps and he does it.
It's one of the coolest views of the city is to climb the steps and to turn around and look back because you have a very long, lovely boulevard lined with trees and beautiful flags from all around the world.
Country flags, right?
Yeah. And it goes down and at the far end you see City Hall. And you can see William Penn on top.
Oh wait,
we're not going to talk about the angle of his scroll.
We have to talk about that because I never like I don't know. I spent a bunch of years here, and then you pointed it out one race, and I was like, oh, I can never unsee that now.
Yeah, this is thanks to my stepmom, Tori.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
all right, you have to share this one
because we're downtown. I think we were taking the kids. I don't know. We were taking the kids. They were young, and I'm just like I love Philadelphia. It's just always been home to me. I just love Philly. But we have the kids. We're downtown. We're visiting. We're not living here yet. And I think maybe we were at the Franklin Institute, maybe, which is right there on the boulevard. And she's like, well, you know about William Penn, right? And I'm like, what? And she's like, look. And I look up. And from the angle from the boulevard, when you look up, when you start the Philly Marathon and you're running down the Ben Franklin Parkway before you make your left.
They call it the Avenue of the Americas as well. Right?
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Take a look up at William Penn and you will see from your angle, he holds a scroll.
He looks really excited.
And the scroll just happens to be up next to his waist and it's pointing
out.
Down. But it's a little angled down.
A little angled down, but out.
Not fully excited.
Not fully excited, but not flaccid.
Not flaccid. No, not fully flaccid either. But anyway, the angle of it's very...
Maggie's shaking her head. She's like, oh my God.
Suspicious. and not necessarily appropriate. And she's like, "You've never noticed this before?" I was like, "No." And I felt like she'd ripped like blinders off of my eyes, and now I can't unsee it.
You just can never unsee it.
And so I had to share that with you.
You can never unsee it. And my other favorite moment when we were running a race, we were like in one of the queues. And so in downtown, again, you can go and see the skyline of Philadelphia. And at the time,
oh my God.
at the time, the tallest building was the Comcast Center. And they were building a new building called the Comcast Technology Center. And so Lori's like kind of standing there and she's looking at it and so forth. And she's like, wow.
I do have some blonde roots here.
I swear to God. She's like, wow, that's like a really skinny building. There's no windows. And I'm like, what are you looking at? And she's like, well, the new Comcast building. She's like, what's going on with that? I'm like, dude, that's the elevator shaft.
I thought it was the building.
I was like, who the fuck are you looking at?
I was looking at the elevator shaft thinking that was the building.
I'm like, it's okay, my friend.
I think she wanted to pat me on the head a little bit.
That was so awesome.
Oh my God.
Oh gosh. Okay. All right. So you start going back to the race.
So anyway, the start's beautiful because
it is.
The sun is usually rising over the city.
Great music.
Decent start. I mean, I don't think there's there's no flyovers or anything crazy like that, but usually the mayor's out there.
And they have a couple of famous people, who are doing high fives and stuff for you, like sometimes some famous runners and what have you that sometimes I don't know who they are.
Right. So the start's really pretty aside from the cold, just you have to prepare for the cold. At this point, I would also say you should get toe warmers because that probably would help a lot in the beginning too.
But when you get a toe warmer, you put the toe warmer, don't put it underneath your toes like they tell you in the in the instructions. Put it on the tops of your toes.
Yeah.
Because your feet will go and sweat as you're standing there, and then you could go and get moist socks. And if you listen to us at last episode, you know that moist socks create friction, which create blisters.
Yes.
So
the sweat will also deactivate.
Yes.
So it won't work for as long.
Yep.
Anyhow, so it's a beautiful start. As long as the weather's decent. Going down towards the city. Then you wind up, making a left and you do some zigging and some zagging. I think you're making your way through the city, which usually has a lot of people along the course, which is great.
Yeah, because part of that is you go down Market.
Yeah.
And on Market is where the Liberty Bell is.
Yes.
So you run by the building that the Liberty Bell is in.
You can't really see the Liberty Bell, but you will see Independence Hall where the Declaration of Independence was signed.
Yeah. Here's a fun fact.
Yes.
I've lived in Philadelphia area for I can't do math right now.
You've never been in that building?
23 years. I've never seen the Liberty Bell.
What?
Right?
All right, we're doing that.
I know. Isn't
That's
that crazy?
Happening. We're doing that.
Yeah.
Anyway. And it is cool. And a lot of times runners are so into their groove at this point
they
miss it. And I wind up when I'm running, because we've ran so many of them.
Hey, that's the Liberty Bell right there.
I'm like, heads up, everybody. Pay attention to your surroundings. Look to your right because it's Independence Hall. They shoot you down as you keep running. You wind up on a little side street with a really cool view of the Ben Franklin Bridge, which is blue and it's really pretty. And then you're down.
And that's in the old city area of Philadelphia. And there's some really, really great old restaurants and bars and little shops and so forth. You could find little record shops in there. And it's just, it's just got a good vibe to it.
Yeah, it's a great vibe. Then you head down the riverfront, and that's the quiet. It's very quiet.
Columbus Boulevard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's at about a mile 3. You make a right onto Columbus.
Yeah.
And you're running along the Delaware.
Yeah, and it's quiet. It's quiet.
It is. So what do you see on Columbus? Because it is kind of
the river and industrial warehouses.
Yes.
It's not overly exciting when you're out on that part of the course.
It's usually windy too.
It's usually windy and cold.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that it's usually cold.
You're really selling this race, Laura.
Yeah, but it's
not one of the coldest ones we've run.
No. So you go out and then you kind of back a little bit, and it takes you through to South Street. And this is where the energy picks up again, because there's usually some people in bars that are kicking. They're also handing out beer and shots sometimes there.
Yeah,
but that's a little
yeah.
early on the course, but they are there.
That's usually the folks on Front Street. That's
Yeah.
it's when you're making
Right
your way back.
before South Street.
Right before South Street. And
Yeah.
they definitely, that street like has picked it up over the years where they hand out a lot of alcohol on that street.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
And then you have a lovely jaunt down South Street, which just historically has kind of always been a quirky part of town. There used to be back in like the 70s, 80s, it was like the punk rock scene. Because not that I ever went in like the mid to late 80s.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you did.
I always look for the old Zipperheads building.
I know,
There's
we
a
do.
building with ants on it, which is the old Zipperheads building.
And it has a big like zipper on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we always take a picture of that every time. And I don't know why, because it's always there. And we're like, but we need to take a picture of it.
It's just an ode to the old punk rock days.
And I always point out the place where my brother Ned, when I first moved up into the area where we first met up, he came over from Jersey. And I met him down on South Street, and we just hung out and just connected one night. And so it's a good reminisce, when we hit South Street.
Yeah, it's a nice place. And so you wind up going down South Street, and then do you pick up? I feel like we pick up Market again. I'm going off the top of my head.
Walnut Street.
Walnut.
I have it all written down.
So we go down Walnut, but then
Walnut's got the great crowds. Well, because you make some jogs. You're like you're on Front Street, South Street, and then Lombard. And then, like, around that area is where you pass Independence Hall again.
Yeah.
On, like,
but then
the
don't
other side.
you hop back onto... Do we take Market when we go across towards
the other
side
we
of the
might we
river?
might be on Market, but I mean, I know we hit Walnut Street because that's where you hit all the great crowds.
Right.
Because that's where all the shopping is now in Philly. And that's where a lot of
like,
vandalism happened last night, too, is in the shops.
Is that, like, Rittenhouse?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's such a great part of town.
Yeah, it's
great
a
restaurants.
beautiful part of town. I used to work downtown, and I absolutely love that area. Some fantastic restaurants. So, when we talk in a couple minutes about where to stay, Rittenhouse Square, that whole area, Center City area, is just phenomenal restaurants. Just some 4 or 5 star restaurants and great bars with some really, really great character, old places.
Yeah, it's really great.
And then you hit.
You cross the bridge and go over to University City.
Yeah, because then you get to go past the Philadelphia Zoo, which...
Well, no. Before that, you're in University City, and you have
with
the
all the frat houses.
Yeah, you have a bunch of frat houses.
Yeah.
Although a lot of times by the time we get there, it's like late enough.
Because we're the back of the pack.
Yeah, back of the pack. They kind of are already done for the day. But sometimes they still got the music pumping and some pots and pans. They're smacking together still. But if you're in the front, you're getting a lot of that energy, which is great. And then you kind of climb a little rise because you got to go over the...
It's a big rise.
Yeah, it's a big rise.
Like over Girard, like by Girard Avenue.
No, you have to take the bridge over the trains that are going in and out of the city before you hit the zoo.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so you have like a little bit of a hill. University City's got some rollers up and down.
Yeah, that's when the hills start. Like they're very, very mild hills. I mean, you can't even call them hills when you're running through the city area. You definitely hit them once you cross over the river and you start hitting University City. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so then you hit there's like a long, lovely little downhill from the railroad tracks going past the zoo. And then there's a fucking little shit kicker that you wind up going down and coming, or you're down and you come up. I don't know. It sucks because you got to go. It's awful, that hill.
Yeah. It takes you up into Fairmount Park. And it's just
But you and I, was it the last race or the one in 2022?
I don't remember much from the last race.
I know. Well, there was one of the races where we kicked that hill's ass.
Yeah.
We ran up the whole thing and it was like the first time that we had gotten up the entire hill. I think it was when just you and I. Yeah, because I don't think we did that with Maddie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was just the two of us in 2022. Yeah. So, yeah, because we got to the top of that thing and we were like, that hill was our bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of pretty but quiet. You're in Fairmount Park. Is it the Please Touch Museum that's there? It's near Memorial Hall.
Great place to bring your kids if you come to Philadelphia. They have some great exhibits for kids to play and touch. The Please Touch Me Museum.
Yeah, no, it's really cute. And there's some pretty brownstones if you really look, because you're kind of very interior in the park, but there are buildings on the outside and there's some old brownstones that they're probably some of my favorite brownstones in the city.
You tell me that every time we run the race, by the way.
Every time.
Those are my favorite brownstones in all of Philadelphia.
So in the past, from that point, like before our first few races, you would go back to the art museum down MLK Boulevard.
Correct.
and past the start and finish and all that and then back out. But since then, you now cross the Girard Street Bridge.
Right.
And they take you around there.
Which goes across the Schuylkill River.
Yeah. So in Schuylkill.
Yeah.
So there are 7, I feel like, historic buildings within Fairmount Park. They're old mansions that it used to be the country, but it's really still part of the city now. But back when it was in the colonial times, there were people that was their country homes. So there is these old historic mansions, but they're not very big. They're not what you would think of
with today's standards anymore. Yeah.
Back then they were mansions, and they have these beautiful views, and they're kind of up on a bluff that looks out over the Schuylkill. So what's nice about the change in the course is that now you kind of run around. I feel like we see 2 or 3 of those.
Yeah, at least 2 or 3.
Yeah. Now, when you're up in that part of Fairmount Park before you come back down and you're on Kelly Drive for your out and back to Manayunk.
Which I love. I love that they changed the course because I never knew that those were up there.
Yeah.
You know, it's just not an area you just kind of just aimlessly drive around in and so forth.
And I think they open them up and decorate them at Christmas, and I've yet to do that tour, but I really would like to.
Well, sounds like a Liberty Bell / mansion tour might be on our agenda for later on this year. So
yes, I think so.
I love that. And then, so once you get out of Fairmount Park, then we end up back on Kelly Drive.
Yeah.
And that's like the big, like that's really like the last, couple of miles. Because I think you start that at maybe miles 16, 17.
Yeah, I feel like
and you go all the way out to mile 21, out to Manayunk, and then you turn around and come back.
And Manayunk's great, though. Because Manayunk's a really cool little...
It's a funky town.
It's a funky town. It's
young.
Yeah, it's got some great little restaurants and stuff, and it's got great energy. Usually some of the restaurants are having like little parties and stuff, and yeah, it's got some great energy.
Yeah, and then when you're finishing the race, so you're coming back on Kelly Drive, and you might have seen some iconic pictures called Boathouse Row. So when you think about like Philadelphia and the Schuylkill River, it's these boathouses where they do crew. Is that what it's called? It's crew?
Yeah, it's crew.
Okay. Yeah. Like with the big canoe boats,
and they
right?
belong to various groups. So some of them I think are private.
And some are colleges, right?
Yeah, some of them are Drexel and Penn's, both their boathouses are there. I think Temple built a new one. I think they have one further towards Manayunk that's not part of Boathouse Road.
I know there was one that was being renoed. So.
Yeah.
But they have them at nighttime. They have them lit up absolutely beautifully. I always I love taking pictures of that.
They were actually down for a few years. They had the lights off for
they were doing
LED
lights
on them.
Yeah.
Which now is so cool because they were lit green all weekend long for the Eagles.
Absolutely. And I like coming down Kelly Drive because you all of a sudden you make this one turn and you start seeing the skyscrapers.
Yeah.
Starting to peek out of the trees, and like you're.
It's
like,
another fuck yeah moment. You're like,
fuck yeah,
I'm finishing this.
Like I'm almost done.
Yeah.
And that's
home
always
stretch.
Yeah, but I always hate it when I get the turn the wrong way because I'm like, oh, the skyscraper's around this bend. I'm like, shit, wrong bends.
Yeah, that does happen.
But yeah, and the finish is great because they have a fantastic. Finish for the runners. That's where we got the hot chicken broth.
The broth. That is probably one of my favorite things to eat at a finish.
I would want to eat that after a race, but do you remember?
Oh my God.
You and I were like, can we come back for a second?
It hits a spot with the sodium and the protein and the warmth
because you're so
warm
cold.
Broth. It is delicious. I never thought I'd like just straight chicken broth. Yeah, they give you warm chicken broth. My only beef with Philly, this is the only bad thing you're going to hear me say, they do give you a free beer, although I usually haven't partaked there. I've partaked on the course already, so by that time I'm done, is I feel like we are a beer mecca. We have so many breweries in and around this town that I feel like we should almost have a beer village. I know we have to have sponsors, but man, it would be nice if we could have like a whole craft beer village right at the end. That's if I was organizing, this is what I would
There
do.
we go. We might need to go and contact the race director on that one and see if we can go and muster something up there, because that would be kind of epic.
Yes. So we've gone through the course. So I have a question for you, because I know I have some of my own answers.
Yeah.
But what would you say were some of your most iconic moments in the Philly Marathon? Like just some of those of all the 6 that you've done.
Oh, there's been so many. One I'll share, but that I did by myself. So it was 2019, and you and I had signed up for the Philly Marathon, and then you realized that it was an Eagles home game at the same time, and you were bringing Maggie to her first tailgate.
Well, it was so the Eagles game was scheduled as a 4:00 game that
right,
day.
and they shifted it. That's right.
They shifted it to 1,
Right.
and I'm like, it'll be fine. It's a 4:00 game. I'll be able to run. Maggie will be able to go. We'll be able to tailgate. It's her first Eagles game, so I didn't want to slate her at all with that experience.
Yep. And then they moved the game.
And then they moved the game, and I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm showered and ready to go at 1 p.m.
Yeah. So you told me, you're like, hey, I'm
Bailing.
I'm bailing.
Yeah.
And I realized that at that point in time, you had one more race than me.
Not that anybody was counting.
And not that anybody was counting, but it was kind of annoying because at that point in time, we had run a bunch of races together. And anytime I was posting...
2019, we were solid.
Oh, we were totally solid.
Yeah,
we were in it. We were
Yeah.
in it. But every time I would post something on social media, I would be like, and it's Lori's 20th marathon and my 19th. And I'm like, fuck, I'm like still one race behind her. So I have to admit that was the one reason why I ran that freaking race. And it was not super enjoyable. Although I was kind of tracking for like a PR.
Oh yeah, you were kicking ass when we saw you.
Yeah, like the first half of that, and then I hit like the half marathon point, and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, like what am I doing? So, but the iconic or most memorable thing for me was because there was an Eagles game at 1:00. I had finished running the marathon. I stayed at the Notary, which is down by City Hall.
Great property.
Is
that
it's a Marriott. It's a Marriott.
You love your Marriotts.
I do. I love my Marriotts. And I sprinted from the finish, because I still had all my crap. I did a late checkout and took a shower, got into my Eagles gear, had the keys to Jim's car. I took the Broad Street line up to the stadium, dumped my bag, opened up his car, dumped my bag up there, got into the stadium, and I was in the stadium by halftime.
That's badass.
With a beer, with a Guinness.
That's badass.
And it was like nobody else was sitting in our seats. And I'm like, so I took a picture of me like in the seat, like holding the Guinness. And I'm like, where are you bitches? You know? And yeah, it was like one of the first times in a while that I had worn my medal.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, yeah, I'm wearing my medal into the game. And like the guys, when I was like checking through security, they're like, what is that? I'm like, I just ran the marathon. They're like, whatever, you know? So just don't hurt anybody with that. So that was one of my moments. Yeah.
That's awesome.
How about you?
So 2015 was our first year where you weren't fully, you were toying with the idea of running 50 states, but I think
I committed in Rehoboth.
You committed in Rehoboth. But so that season I had run, did I run New York? I had run, no. I had run Maine in October, and then we ran Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm.
And then we ran Philly together, and then we ran Rehoboth. So I did 4 that fall season. Right. Where the fuck am I going with this?
Fuck if I know.
Oh, so like we were starting to run together. We were starting to run together, but you hadn't committed to the 50 yet. So we register for these things way early in advance.
Way in advance, yeah.
So we had already for the fall committed to running. For 2016, running Indianapolis, the Monumental Race, Baltimore Marathon, Philly again.
Mm-hmm. It was definitely those 3.
It was those 3. Yeah. I don't know if there was another one or not. So in the meantime, and we'll get into Rehoboth our next episode, but in the meantime, when we were training for 2026. I
got hurt in February because...
You fucked up your back.
Yeah, I was shoveling snow and I blew a disc in my back.
Yeah.
And it derailed me for almost the entire year. I think I didn't start running again until like August of that year.
Yeah, and so you took your marathons and made them halves.
Yes.
So you did all halves that year.
Yeah.
So I wound up at 2016. This is before, like, this year there were injuries abound, and I deferred.
Yeah.
We all deferred. I'm like, everybody's injured. I'm not running by myself. I'm deferring. In 2016, I wasn't quite sure. You know, everything was new. And so I was like full steam ahead. So I went ahead and ran all the marathons that season. So in 2016, I ran Philly by myself. We had done the half on Saturday.
Yes.
And then I did the full on Sunday. And Laura and Julie came down to support me.
Yes, we were her staff.
Oh my God. And they were the best. The course hadn't changed yet, so you guys were down near Eakins Oval.
So we knew it. We knew it like the back of our hands, right? Like where we were going to be and so forth. Yep.
And I turn a corner, and they're holding a sign, which we have a picture of. It says, "We have your beer, bitch." And I'm like, fuck, yes, you do. I was so happy to see them. As a matter of fact, I think when I was running, I had made his name's Steve. I had made another Maniac. I was wearing Maniac gear, and I buddied up with another Maniac, and I'm like, my friends are going to have Fireball. If you stay with me, if you want a shot, I'll give you a shot at Fireball. And so we did a shot at Fireball at the half, and we ran. Like, you guys were just the best.
So
we have your beer bitch sign is iconic to me.
Like totally iconic. And that's really where all of a sudden, like, having a beer bitch on the course started.
Yeah. So
throughout all of our races, we have had some of the best beer bitches ever. Maggie's been a beer bitch.
Maggie,
my son-in-law Matthew.
Oh, Matthew.
During the last Philly marathon, he was our beer bitch.
It was a slippery slope.
Yeah,
it's gotten each year with Philly has gotten a little bit more
on edge.
Yeah, little bit more, extra every time.
Yeah, we are a little extra
every
at
time.
Philly.
Yeah. But
we have fun.
2016, that was epic. And then 2022 was cold.
It was really cold. Dude, we wore so many layers. Do you remember the layers?
I tripped and that was when I tripped and
fell.
Yeah,
you ripped your favorite pants. I felt so bad. But oh my gosh, yeah, you fell early.
I fell early. Yeah, I fell like when we were on Arch.
Yeah, like
it was right near.
Yeah. It was before we got to Independence Hall, so it was really early in the race.
It was right near Reading Terminal.
We were still downtown.
Wasn't it right there, Reading Terminal?
Yeah, we were still downtown.
Yeah, the roads in Philly are super uneven, so you really need to watch your footing when you are running the races.
You did like Superman on me, and I was like, oh my God, she's gonna be a bloody mess.
But thank God I was wearing so many layers.
I know,
it protected me.
It was like padding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, we carried. I don't know how we decided. I carried the little thing of Fireball.
Oh, there was no we deciding. It was like Lorri. We sing a theme here. Lorri packed the Fireball, and I think I have a picture of you, and you're like holding it up at the start, and I'm like, oh, good God.
And we decided we were going to, it was so cold, we would take shots along the way.
Where are you, my friend?
Well, I was just looking back at these pictures from this race, and I'm like, holy shit, the level of where the Fireball is at the beginning of the race and where it is at the end of the race.
I drank that at that one.
Well, no, I did start to feel better because there is a picture of us doing the Angels Shared a Ned on South Street. So I did dump.
Oh, did we dump a little bit there?
I did dump some.
Okay, all right.
But I was a little alarmed at how much Fireball we had consumed.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
Yeah, by the time we were ending that race, we were like laughing and giggling and
I wasn't feeling any pain. No pain.
Again, we need to stress this is not a healthy way to go and run races.
No. And you're also talking about at that point, we were definitely 40 marathons in.
Yeah.
I would never encourage somebody who's just going to run their first marathon to ever
try
this.
Like, don't do it.
Like, it's not.
Like, don't do it.
It's not appropriate.
No.
We have eased into this, and it's gotten gradually worse, like I'm sure most alcoholics are.
Oh, my God.
Culminating in 2023, we start the race. It's Laura, me, her daughter Maddie, and Maggie are running with us.
Yes.
And Maggie went into that race with an IT injury. So we're going to talk about Patricia, that bitch.
Yes.
Part of how we figured out we could do multiple races on a continuing basis is strength training. Yes, we do our running training, but also a perfectly timed sports massage, not deep tissue massage, not relaxing massage. I'm talking about my hands are sweating, deep pressure.
It hurts.
Some cupping. It's very uncomfortable.
Scraping.
But but holy shit. I mean, I went from occasionally having injuries to 0 injuries, but running 16 marathons in a year injury-free, including a back-to-back weekend. Where we ran one Saturday and one Sunday. So Maggie has an IT injury. I send her to our massage therapist, Paul, who's amazing. Again, shout out Loosen Up Muscle Therapy, Paul Manley. She goes and sees him, and he does his best. He recommends that she runs with one of our kitchen spoons so that if her leg gets to bothering her, she can scrape her IT band to keep it loose.
We're like, a spoon?
A spoon.
A spoon.
So she shows up on the start line with the spoon, and we're like, the spoon needs a name. We can't just have a spoon.
She's like, it's Patricia.
so we're like,
we were like, Patricia.
That bitch.
That bitch Patricia.
That bitch Patricia. So Patricia came with us, and Maggie, thank God, wound up feeling amazing that day. Maddie, not so much. So she wound up passing Patricia, that bitch, to Maddie, and Maddie wound up finishing.
Maddie took care of Patricia, the bitch.
Yes. Maddie wound up taking Patricia. But Maddie was in so much pain. We had Matthew and
her
whole
husband,
crew. Yeah. I think Dave was down there too.
Yes, Dave and Maggie's boyfriend Connor was there as well. And then Matthew's friend Zan was there as well. Zan was also a beer bitch.
Yes.
He's the quiet beer bitch.
They were amazing. They would just show up on the course, and Maddie gets so excited. There's Matthew. And he was carrying, what was he carrying? I know he was carrying a small bottle of Grey Goose.
Oh yeah, he had so much stuff.
He had a lot of stuff.
He was carrying like a 20-pound bag of like booze.
I look over at one of the first stops.
This is so bad.
It's really bad. This is probably one of the worst races we've ran.
This and Route 66. Like those were worse too.
New York City.
No. This
for me, New York City was bad, maybe. Yeah. But anyway, So
I'm almost gonna snort.
So we're running, and I don't even know what mile we're on, but Maddie's like, "Oh look, Matthew, thank God!" And she's like, "I want the vodka," and she takes the vodka, and like,
she drinks a lot.
Let's just say she has a shot,
a healthy shot,
a really healthy shot. And I was like, "Oh,
we're trying to numb some stuff."
Oh, okay. So this is what we're doing today, and I don't know why I felt like I had to be with her in this, but I also start partaking
I was like, hell no.
in large amounts of vodka. Yeah. There was a lot going on that course. And I remember one of the spectators, I don't know, I guess maybe we were discussing my consumption.
We were coming out of Manayunk.
Yeah, and we were discussing loudly that
I was older gentleman.
I was kind of inebriated and couldn't feel my feet. And this guy's like, "You can't run a marathon like that. You're never going to finish." And I was like, "Watch me."
And then poor Maddie.
You don't know me.
And then poor Maddie, as we were coming back on Kelly Drive, she was in a lot of pain.
She was so much pain.
And she's got high threshold for pain, being a collegiate athlete and so forth, in the past. And she was in a lot of pain. And you and I were so buzzed. And we were like, we kept laughing, and we're like, "Oh, wait, Maddie, are you okay?"
Yeah.
And we're like, "Maddie, are you okay?" I felt so bad for her.
Come on, Maddie, let's go.
Come on, let's go.
Come on, Maddie, this is great.
So that was very memorable. The other things that you would do when we would hit the end of that race.
Oh, you must.
It's
a necessity. You haven't finished the Philly Marathon.
Lorri would always pick out somebody to kind of go after. And so I call it like her pony pick. So she'd always pick a person that would be in front of us. And I remember in one of the Philly marathons, I think it was the 15 one.
Yeah, I think it was 15.
It was the lady with the boots with the fur.
Oh my God.
Do you remember that?
Furry boots.
She had furry boots.
And I'm like, she's not finishing before me.
Yeah. So Lorri made us run faster so we could go and beat the lady with the boots with the fur.
Absolutely. So I feel like, in addition to everything we've mentioned, you really haven't finished the Philly Marathon unless you finish, you get your medal.
Oh, yeah.
But you must turn around.
You must.
Walk your ass over to the art museum and run the steps like Rocky.
Yeah.
That's when you know you reach badass.
That's right. That's right. And you got to get your picture taken so there's proof that you actually went and did it too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's kind of cool if you like bring your kids to the Philly Marathon and the kids run up the stairs with you too. And
get your picture taken with Rocky. Usually they drape a Philly Marathon shirt. They make one huge for Rocky.
Absolutely.
He usually wears one
Yeah, he
too.
usually wears one. So,
Yeah.
All right. So what was your most memorable pregame meal that we had?
Oh, God. I have a favorite in Philly.
I know you do.
And
I agree with you. It's my favorite too.
Right now, I'm going to say thank God we don't have a lot of viewership because I really don't want this getting out.
Yeah.
But
I think it's already out though because it's kind of hard to get in there.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You have to have a reservation. It's a place called Prunella, Prunella. It's a little pizza joint on the corner of 13th and Walnut, I believe. Sampson. Sorry, it's 13th and Sampson. And they have a little bit of outdoor seating, but it's got a nice little sophisticated vibe. I would say for you, it had an amazing wine list, right?
Amazing
They have
wine
good
list and
wines.
amazing gluten-free pizza.
Oh, and regular pizza. Both pizzas are amazing.
Just like it has to be in the top five, my top 5 pizza. Yeah.
Like I realized I had made our reservation the minute the reservations opened for that place for this year before we deferred. So it's sad. But I will definitely be making a reservation before we run it this year. 100%. That's our pre-race meal in Philly every time.
It's got to be pizza the night before.
But if you happen to be in that area and you can't get in, I do also really, not that you want to eat Mexican before a race. I do not recommend that. However, El Vez right across the street is really good too.
It's like diagonal
yeah,
in
it's
the
right
same corner. Yeah.
They have their food is
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah,
Philly is a foodie's dream.
Yeah.
We have a lot of fantastic world-class restaurants, but you do have to plan in advance if you're going to do them. Like Zahav is like ridiculous. That's like one of the
It's
top
like months and months out. Yeah.
And that's one of the, actually, I think they're 30 days now.
Are they?
I think they're 30 days to the day. You have to be on at like 10 a.m. to get their reservations. But Zahav is like top 10, I think, in the country as far as food, and it's Middle Eastern. It's fantastic. It's so good. So good.
Which we do not eat the
Don't eat
night
that
before
before
a race.
No.
But we do eat the pizza. So places that we would highly recommend, because there are a lot of hotels downtown. But the one that we really like to stay at when the prices aren't like redonkulous
As
is the
they are
Logan.
right now.
Yeah, is at the Logan.
The Logan is the perfect location for start and finish line for Philly.
Yeah, it's a very, very short walk to the start. Absolutely just phenomenal location, both for the start and the finish.
Yeah.
But we have also stayed at the Notary. Which is, it's a little bit more of a walk, probably like another half-mile walk to the start.
Yeah.
But you know, again, like just great rooms, great scenery. You get to, you know, if you're lucky enough, you get to get a room where you get to see City Hall.
Yeah.
You know, overlook that. And then another one that I've stayed at is the Lowe's Hotel. And again,
although that's further because that's over
it is
on Market.
further, and that was earlier on where
You'd almost have to take an Uber to the start.
Yeah, no, I walked, so it was.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was
that like a mile and a half.
Yeah, it was way too far. But But
also there is also a loft, A loft. That's a nice property.
Yeah, there's more options now.
Yeah.
Than there were, you know, back when I first started running. But I do like the night before, you know, even though we're local, to go and stay, you know, overnight the night before, because that way then you're not waking up at like 2 a.m. to get ready and all that.
I agree. So. It's a nice convenience, but I'm really hoping the Logan comes down in their prices for this November. I'm looking at you.
And then before we close it out, what's your favorite go-to after a race? Where do you like going to?
Oh, geez, that's developed over the years.
I know.
I don't even know right now. It's kind of whatever feels good at the moment and whatever's available.
Yeah.
But you craved wings, right?
I used to, yeah.
And I was a burger girl.
Yeah.
So I loved having a big, fat, juicy burger after a race.
Now eating wings after a race just makes me want to kind of just not want wings.
I did go through a steak phase where I really wanted steak and
potatoes.
A baked potato. Ooh.
Yeah,
that's good stuff.
Yeah, so
although we did
this
year. Where did we go this year? Uptown?
Yeah, we went to Uptown.
Did we get food there? We must have.
I don't know. We
It was so bad.
Do we even remember that? I'm
I
amazed.
remember sitting there. I think we ate.
I'm amazed that we remember that we went to Uptown. So that was pretty good. So, all right. Well, I think we did a pretty damn. Oh wait, what?
Wait, one last thing. Also, the medals. The medals for Philly are very solid. Very solid. They used to be just a simple disc with like whatever Philly related. I think in most recent years, they've really deferred to the bells. Hold on, I'm going to give it a little ring.
Oh.
So that was our 2023 medal.
Another angel got its wings.
Yeah, I like the Liberty Bell as a medal.
I do too.
It's very, it's quintessential Philly.
I like it because when you wear it around your neck, you sound like a dog, like walking around like ding, ding,
or like
ding.
a cowbell.
Yes, yes. And
I'm here.
But people know they're like, oh, that person ran the marathon,
Yeah.
So and Lori and I, we I don't know, earlier on we would wear our medals around our necks, like. Yeah, like the day after. Now
or traveling, like when we were traveling on a flight back from somewhere.
Yeah, now it's like, no, not at all.
No.
We wear the race shirts.
Yeah.
We wear the race shirts, but not the medals. The medals got to go. We got to covet those and put them in the bags and so forth. So, but I think we did a really nice job. One, giving kudos to our birds.
Go birds.
Can we do like one more?
EAGLES, Eagles.
And then like making this like the Philly, all about Philly. We're all about brotherly love here.
We are.
And just giving a recap of the race. It's a great race. And even though I think Lori probably said about 10 million times at the beginning of the conversation that this is a cold race, you got to dress appropriately.
Yeah, I always say there's no bad weather, just bad gear.
Yeah.
So you just need to be prepared.
That's right. And just come to Philly. Come check us out. And we have a lot of great things to go and offer. It's a great city.
Come run with us in 2025.
2025.
We'll be there this fall.
We will definitely be there. So next week, we are going to talk about the Rehoboth Marathon. And Rehoboth Beach is in Delaware. And so this one was a fun one. This one was in December of 2015.
Yep.
Yeah. So folks, thank you so much for joining us on episode 4. And go make mile 20 your bitch this week.
Go birds.
Go birds. Peace out.